Warning, this podcast contains themes of extreme violence and murder. Subject matter may be offensive to some listeners. Discretion advised.
There were 2 episodes of time, very, very brief, in which I saw what I took to be a white female in a broad floppy hat with stringy blonde hair. And I heard her say, "Acid is groovy, kill the pigs."
Welcome to another episode of Evil Transgression, your homicide headquarters here in podcasting. I'm Josh, and with me as always, Dustin and Rex.
Hey, what's up? What's going on?
Welcome back.
I'm back.
Yay.
You guys are excited.
Oh, yeah.
Hi.
Hi. Oh, I missed you guys.
Did you?
Yeah.
I did.
I guess we kind of missed you a little bit.
We did.
Yeah. Your guys' last episode wasn't very funny because I wasn't here.
No, that's not true.
Don't hate.
Also, somebody did mention, because it was in the early 1800s, somebody was like, "Where's Dustin?" asking if they had cars.
Oh, that's perfect.
Oh, that's great.
And that would have been the one time I'd be like, "No, they didn't." Today's episode is brought to you by the patron of Mila.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Mila.
And as always, if you would like to sponsor an episode by being a patron or a Patreon, Dustin will explain to you how to do that at the end of this episode. Right?
I will.
Good deal.
I sure will.
Because I think Rex had to do that last time.
Yeah, I think so.
I bet it wasn't very good.
It was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Rex, you just got a new job.
Pass.
We have a real crazy case today, where you're gonna have to decide for yourself whether this gentleman is guilty or not.
Ooh, one of those, huh?
Yeah.
I know what I think,
Well,
and I'll let you know.
excellent.
Can't wait.
And everybody's good. Everybody's
Yep.
ready.
Yep.
Let's do it.
Buckle up, evil mob, as we discuss Jeffery MacDonald. Jeffery Robert MacDonald was born on October 12, 1943, in Jamaica, Queens, New York, to parents Dorothy and Robert MacDonald. Jeffery was a smart kid and also a pretty popular one. In high school, he was voted most popular and most likely to succeed.
Been there.
Oh, I bet you have.
I have a hard time believing that. Especially the most likely to succeed. MacDonald attended Princeton on a scholarship. Not shabby at all to get a scholarship to an Ivy League school.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
While at Princeton, Jeffery MacDonald began dating Colette Stevenson. Jeffery MacDonald and Colette Stevenson had dated on and off in high school. And in the fall of 1963, MacDonald and Stevenson married after finding out that a child was on the way. Little shotgun wedding.
Mm-hmm.
Their daughter Kimberly was born in April of 1964. After graduating from Princeton, the family moved to Chicago, Illinois, where Jeffery MacDonald attended Northwestern University Medical School. Definitely a smart guy. If you graduate from Princeton, you know, an Ivy League school,
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
and then you go to Northwestern University to medical school.
Isn't that like one of the best medical schools in the country?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure
I
it
haven't
is.
been to medical school, but if I was going, I might go there. It's close.
Actually, I think Ohio State is, because Ohio State's the best at everything.
Oh, yeah.
As far as medical school, I don't know. We do have some of the best hospitals.
We do.
You know,
Yeah.
You got
Children.
the James Children's Hospital. Yeah, Nationwide Children's Hospital. But so this guy's at Northwestern though, medical school. A second daughter was born in May of 1967. In 1968, Jeffery MacDonald graduated from medical school and became an intern at the Columbia Presbyterian Medical Center in New York, New York. After the internship, MacDonald joined the Army and moved the family to Fort Bragg, North Carolina. Jeffery MacDonald became a group surgeon in 1969 for the Green Berets.
Nice.
Pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Putting his knowledge to good use, I would say. Taking care of our soldiers.
Right.
So everything is going well for Jeffery MacDonald, Colette, and the girls. He has a good career, and everything is pretty much great. There was even a baby boy on the way. But tragedy would strike in early 1970. On February 17th, 1970, at 3:42 a.m., a frantic Jeffery MacDonald called emergency operators at Fort Bragg to report a stabbing. When officers arrived on scene, they found the bodies of Colette, 5-year-old Kimberly, and 2-year-old Kristen in their own beds.
Wow.
Jeffery MacDonald was found next to his wife bleeding but alive. He was transported to the hospital. Colette, who had been 5 months pregnant, had severe head trauma, broken arms, and 37 stab wounds from a knife and an ice pick.
Dang.
That is insane.
Above Colette's body, someone had written "pig" in blood on the headboard. 5-year-old Kimberly had suffered head trauma and had been stabbed in the neck with a knife 10 times.
Ugh.
2-year-old Kristen had been stabbed 33 times with a knife and 15 times with an ice pick. So it's just freaking brutal.
That's terrible.
I mean, that's overkill.
Yeah.
If there's not such a thing, I think one time on any child or, an innocent person is overkill.
Right.
But to stab somebody that many times, especially these kids, just brutal.
Yeah, you got to be a sick individual to do that.
At the hospital, Jeffery MacDonald had much less severe injuries. He had a few small cuts and bruises as well as a clean, small, sharp incision that had caused one lung to partially collapse. So MacDonald's not uninjured by any means.
Mm-hmm.
He's not really injured either.
True. I mean, a partially collapsed lung probably doesn't feel good, but
No.
Right.
when everybody else is stabbed 33 times with...
Yep.
MacDonald claimed that he had fallen asleep on the couch in the living room and was awakened by Colette and Kimberly screaming. He stated that as he got up to run to their rooms, he was attacked by 3 unidentified men with a club and an ice pick. A fourth suspect, a woman wearing a white floppy hat, stood nearby with a candle and chanted, "Acid is groovy, kill the pigs."
What?
It's a weird situation this guy's describing.
Yeah.
Seems like a bunch of hippies.
And it's creepy as hell to sit and think, but there's some lady with a white floppy hat on holding a lit candle going,
Yeah, right under her face. Like,
"Acid is groovy, kill the pigs. Acid is groovy, kill the pigs."
That's weird.
MacDonald claims that during the scuffle with the men, his pajama shirt was lifted over his head and he used it to try and shield the blows from the ice pick before being knocked unconscious. MacDonald states that when he came to, the house was quiet and the intruders were gone. He rushed to Colette's bedside where he tried to revive her, but she was already gone, so he left his torn pajama top to cover her. He laid it over her.
mm-hmm.
Jeffery MacDonald claims to have tried to do CPR on both of his daughters, but they too were already gone. This is where it gets weird. If it hasn't been weird yet, this is where it's going to get real weird.
Great.
Jeffery MacDonald then goes into the bathroom to assess his own injuries, even washing his hands before he then calls for the military police and an ambulance. I mean, is that a normal thing? Everybody's dead. I'm going to go wash my hands.
Right.
Yeah, I'd have the phone already in hand. That's the last thing I'd be worrying about.
Yeah. Oh, I don't want to get no blood on my carpet, even though there's dead bodies everywhere.
Uh-huh.
The Criminal Investigation Division of the Army began to investigate Jeffery MacDonald's story. They found several inconsistencies with his statements. In the living room where Jeffery MacDonald claims to have fought off the attackers using his ninja pajama shirt, investigators found very little signs of a struggle other than an overturned coffee table and a plant. In fact, fibers from Jeffery MacDonald's pajama shirt weren't even found in the living room where it was supposedly torn and stabbed at with the ice pick, remember?
Interesting.
But do you know where they did find fibers of that shirt?
In the bedroom?
Underneath Colette's body and in Kimberly and Kristen's bedrooms. That's odd considering he wasn't supposedly wearing it when he went to check on Kimberly and Kristen.
Right. Yeah.
Even more odd, one fiber was found underneath Kristen's fingernail. Just outside of the back door, the knife, the ice pick, and a large piece of wood were found. The large piece of wood, I'm assuming, was the thing used as a club.
Right.
All of which came from inside the MacDonald household. Underneath the headboard where pig had been written in blood were tips of surgical gloves, identical to the gloves Jeffery MacDonald kept in the kitchen of his own home.
Wow.
Fortunately for the Criminal Investigation Division of the Army, the MacDonald family had the unlikely chance that each one had different blood types. So everybody in the house has a different blood type, which is extremely rare.
Yeah, it is.
But it's good for them because that meant they were able to track what had actually happened in the house.
Right.
I mean, it gives them a better idea of whose blood's where, and why is this person's blood over here, this person's blood over there.
Yeah.
So investigators used that to theorize that the fight began in the master bedroom, where they believe Colette hit her husband in the forehead with a hairbrush. How they figure that out, I don't know.
Hit him in the forehead with a brush.
Forehead. Slap him right in his dome. They believe that Jeffrey retaliated by hitting her with a large piece of wood, the club, that he used. Brain serum, that just sounds insane.
Sounds gross.
Yeah.
Brain serum that belonged to Kimberly was found in the doorway of that bedroom, which made investigators believe she was either accidentally hit while Jeffery MacDonald was beating his wife to death, or he intentionally hit her. So the girl's brain serum is found inside the parents' doorway.
So they're thinking he might have accidentally hit her and that maybe drove him crazy? And to kill everybody else?
Well, that or maybe, okay, well, I hit her and if I hit you hard enough where brain serum is out,
Yeah.
it's not looking good for you.
Right.
No.
So if I'm already beating my wife to death and I do that to my kid, I'm going to have to take out the whole family and come up with a story.
Right.
So thinking Colette was dead, MacDonald then carried Kimberly back to her bedroom where he finished her off. Kimberly's blood was found on the pajama shirt that MacDonald claims he wasn't even wearing when he went to Kimberly's room to supposedly check on her. Jeffery MacDonald then went to Kristen's room to kill her. Colette's blood was found on Kristen's bed sheets and on one of the walls in the room. So this makes the investigators believe that she had regained consciousness, stumbled into the room where she threw herself over her daughter to protect her. Jeffrey then finished both Colette and Kristen off before wrapping his wife in a sheet and carrying her back to their bed. A bloody footprint from Colette's blood was found on the way out of Kristen's room. Investigators believe Jeffery MacDonald went into the bathroom with a scalpel he had in the hallway closet and stabbed himself. Afterwards, MacDonald put his pajama top over his wife and stabbed her with the ice pick before writing pig on the headboard. An Esquire magazine that was found in the living room had an article about the Manson family where investigators believe Jeffery MacDonald got the idea to write pig on the headboard. He was trying to blame this on the Manson family. MacDonald is believed to then throw the murder weapons out the back door before phoning the emergency operators at Fort Bragg and then laying down beside his wife's body waiting for the military police to arrive. Jeffery MacDonald spent a week recovering in the hospital. So that's their theory on things, the investigators. I mean, using the evidence that they found and the blood evidence,
Right.
that's what they believe actually happened.
Right.
They don't believe that a group of hippies came in and annihilated his family and left him alive.
Well, that's
Yeah.
what I think. If you can kill a 2-year-old, I'm pretty sure you're going to kill a 30-year-old male.
Especially if he's unconscious. I
Right.
mean,
Right.
You stabbed these girls. The one girl was stabbed 33 times. The
Yeah.
2-year-old. 33 times.
But you're just going to cut this guy and knock him out and
Yeah.
leave him?
Yeah. No
Doubt
way.
it.
So on April 6th, 1970, Army investigators finally got to interrogate Jeffery MacDonald, where he went over his story again, claiming his innocence. On May 1st, 1970, Jeffery MacDonald was formally charged with the murder of his family. An Article 32 hearing began in July of 1970. Now, an Article 32 is basically a military hearing thing where an investigation where they take all this evidence and the military decides whether these charges stick and if he's guilty, basically.
Right.
At this hearing, the defense claimed that the Criminal Investigations Department of the Army had done such a poor investigation, they didn't even look into any other suspects. One of those suspects was Helena Stokely, who was believed to be the woman MacDonald claimed to have seen holding the lit candle in his home that night. The old floppy white hat, Helena.
The acid lady?
Yeah.
Witnesses claim that Helena Stokely, who was a well-known drug user, had admitted to involvement in the murders. She was also known to have worn clothes like Jeffery MacDonald had described. So there's other people that say, man, it could have been her.
Yeah.
She admitted it to us.
But it's the 70s. Like, they were all they all dressed the same. They were all hippies and,
Yeah, but
Yeah.
they're saying that this chick admitted it to her friends.
Well, she probably wanted to fit in,
Maybe.
I guess.
In November of 1970, a commanding officer reviewed the Article 32 and deemed there was not enough sufficient evidence to charge MacDonald, and he was released from custody and honorably discharged from the Army.
What?
Honorably.
Honorably.
That's crazy.
Jeffery MacDonald would then return to New York, where he would resume work as a doctor.
Wow.
That's mind-blowing to me.
It is, yeah.
Even if he's innocent, the dude was accused of annihilating his family. And they're like, you can come be a doctor.
Right, yeah.
Come on in. So a short time later, Jeffery MacDonald moved to Long Beach, California, where he worked as an emergency room physician at the St. Mary Medical Center. So after he goes to New York and becomes a doctor there, he moves to Long Beach, California, and becomes an emergency room physician at St. Mary Medical Center. Jeffery MacDonald even went on the Dick Cavett show to talk about the murders, where he even made jokes about the investigation.
What?
This didn't sit well with many people, including Colette's stepfather, which I'm sure it wouldn't.
No, yeah.
If you're watching TV and, hey, let's see what's on the Dick Cavett show tonight. Oh, look, it's Jeffery MacDonald. Oh, he's talking about how the joke of an investigation on my daughter's murder is. Probably not going to sit well with you.
No.
Right.
On June 1st, 1972, the Criminal Investigation Department of the Army submitted a 3,000-page report naming Jeffery MacDonald the prime suspect. So the CID still was like, look, we know you dismissed this Article 32, but check this report out.
Yeah.
And you tell us what you think. So they submit that to the Justice Department.
Seems like he got really cocky
Yeah.
after
A little bit, yeah.
But I mean, a 3,000-page report.
That's a big report.
That's not what the book reports were that we turned in high school.
Nope.
So the Justice Department gets this report, they get involved, but they decide not to prosecute as well until July of 1974, after Colette's stepfather pestered enough people to bring forth the charges. So, I mean, they get this report, they look at it, and they're like, until Colette's stepfather's like, look, somebody's got to do something. This dude more than likely killed my daughter. He's bragging about it on TV.
Right.
This guy's going about his day, and nobody cares. So, I mean, if you think about it, if it wasn't for her stepfather, this never would have been brought up again.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Now, a grand jury in North Carolina finally indicted Jeffery MacDonald on January 24th, 1975. That trial begins on July 16th, 1979. So
4 years?
years later, the trial finally commences.
That's crazy.
On August 29th, 1979, Jeffery MacDonald was convicted of 1 count of first-degree murder in the death of Kristen and 2 counts of second-degree murder in the deaths of Colette and Kimberly. He was given 3 life sentences to be served consecutively. So this sounds like a done deal.
Mm-hmm.
So consecutively. So that means whenever he serves his 1 life sentence and he got to come back and do the next one.
Yeah, we're going to bring you back to life. We're going to bring you back to life. You're going to die. We're going to bring you back again. In June of 1979, Jeffery MacDonald gave access to author Joe McGinnis to write about the murders, giving McGinnis access to all the information on the case. Now, MacDonald only does this with the understanding that McGinnis was writing a book claiming MacDonald was innocent. He's like, yeah, write this book and tell everybody how innocent I am. This guy's like, sure. not a problem. So the book didn't. Instead, it painted MacDonald as the killer, and Jeffery MacDonald ended up getting pissed off and suing Joe McGinnis for fraud.
Oh, wow.
Now, listen.
Great.
The two settled out of court for a whopping $325,000. So Jeffery MacDonald's in prison, sues a guy, and ends up with $325,000.
That is insane.
I just find it mind-blowing that a convicted murderer can sue someone and end up settling out of court for $325,000. Although later on, Colette's family, in turn, sues MacDonald and received a good portion of that money. So that's the silver lining in a crazy deal there.
Uh-huh.
He had mad money on his books. And he wakes up and he's like, shit, they took all my money.
Looks like I ain't getting no Hot Pockets today. But it gets even more bizarre, though. On July 29th, 1980, a Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals reversed Jeffery MacDonald's conviction in a 2-to-1 split on the grounds that the delay in bringing him to trial violated his Sixth Amendment rights to a speedy trial. On August 22nd, 1980, MacDonald posted a $100,000 bail. He returned to work at St. Mary's Medical Center in Long Beach, California, as the director of emergency medicine.
How does that even happen?
They let him back?
They kept his job open for him while he was in prison for a year.
Crazy.
What?
Meanwhile, while this guy is practicing medicine in California, the Fourth Circuit Court is going back and forth on whether his rights were indeed violated. Finally, on March 31st, 1982, the Fourth Circuit finally ruled 6-3 that MacDonald's rights to a speedy trial were not violated, and he was rearrested and sent back to prison. So they're like, we're going to let him out. He's going to go practice medicine. And then we're like, yeah, we shouldn't have let him out. Let's go get this guy.
Idiots.
So what about this Helena Stokely lady, you ask? The one that was supposedly the woman with the candle, the floppy white hat.
Right.
The acid lady?
Acid lady.
Mm-hmm.
So over the years, it is said that Helena Stokely confessed several times to being in the house and saying that Jeffery MacDonald was innocent. Even Stokely's mother has said that she believed her daughter was telling the truth. I mean, even her mom was like, yeah, she admitted it. I believe that she did kill those people and that Jeffery MacDonald was innocent.
Mm-hmm.
The problem with that is there are also several times that Helena Stokely also said she didn't remember being there and that she was on so much drugs at the time there's no way she could remember. Stokely was an 18-year-old police informant at the time of the murder. That's crazy. So when this murder happened, she was already with the police, like involved with the police as an informant.
Right.
She was heavily into drugs, but police also found her to be a very unreliable person when it came to telling the truth. So they thought she was a liar anyways. So despite rumblings that she had confessed, she testified that because of her drug abuse, she couldn't remember exactly where she had been or what she had done on the night of the murders. Even after several people stated that she had confessed to them, but the judges ruled that Stokely was too unreliable, and the jury never even heard Stokely's confessions. Stokely was 32 when she died on January 9th, 1983 of acute pneumonia and cirrhosis of the liver. So maybe she did take the truth with her to the grave.
Yeah.
Odd, but that is the type of stuff that makes you wonder. Now here's what we'll add to that is an unsourced pubic hair was found between Colette's legs, as well as another unsourced hair in the bedsheet. And an unsourced hair with root intact was found under the fingernail of 2-year-old Kristen. So there's these odd hairs that they just can't place where they come from.
I mean, I'm sure, this might be far-fetched, but I'm sure you bring in hairs from the outside world.
I don't think you put them between your thighs.
You never know. What happens?
Dustin might.
What happens if you're walking and a hair blows and lands between your thighs?
What happens if you sit down on a Walmart toilet?
There you go.
So to this day, Jeffery MacDonald claims his innocence. He is currently imprisoned at the Federal Correction Institute in Cumberland, Maryland. So is an innocent man in prison?
No, he's guilty.
He's guilty as all get out.
It's a toss-up. It could have been this girl. Even this girl's own mother said
maybe.
I get the girl. She seemed like she's a little nuts because she's on all these drugs. There's no way she killed 4 people or 3 people and then knocked out Jeffery MacDonald.
Maybe it was both.
Maybe. He may be innocent. I don't know. I tend to always go with forensic evidence.
Yeah.
And to me, there's a ton of forensic evidence that says this guy did it by himself. There's no other. You have these crazy unknown hairs, but other than that, there's no other blood. There's no other footprints.
How did the pajama shirt get underneath her body?
The fiber? Yeah. That's the thing. The fibers. Well, maybe he slept in the bed the night before wearing the same shirt. I don't know. How does it get under the little girl's fingernail?
Right.
I don't know. Maybe she gave her dad a hug before she went to bed.
I'm down with the theory of I think he was fighting with his wife. He was probably beating her. Grabbed that board, went to swing it, hit the daughter, and probably killed her, and then lost his mind.
Maybe.
That's the theory I'm going with.
That's a good theory.
It is.
This is, to me, when I hear the Helena Stokely come into the picture here with her floppy hat and her candle saying, "Acid is groovy, kill the pigs." For some reason, my mind goes to an Adam Sandler skit. Have you ever heard the "Nighttime is the Right Time" one where he joins the cult?
Oh, yeah.
Like, the nighttime is the right time. The nighttime is the right. That's a terrible thing to think, but that's where my mind goes. But
good stuff.
it's tragic that this woman and these 2 poor babies were killed, and it would be nice to know 100% that the real killer is in prison,
right?
And is paying for it.
Isn't Jeffery MacDonald like 100 years old now?
He's pretty old.
I thought he was old.
He is. He's actually 77 years old.
Close enough.
That's up there.
But
he's closer to 100 than he is away from 100. Or however I wanted to say that.
He's closer to 100 than me and you. That makes him close to 100. But that is the story of Jeffery MacDonald.
I like that one.
Yeah.
A lot of interesting ways you can go with this story.
Yeah. I tend to like the cases too where do we really have the right man? I mean, is the right guy really in jail?
Right.
I mean, I think we all three agree that it was probably him.
Yeah.
But there's still that shadow of a doubt.
Well, he's a surgeon, so he knows where to cut himself so he doesn't kill himself.
That's the other thing is, to me, other than the evidence of, the fibers being in a certain spot, the blood being in different areas of the house than what he said they were, to me, the fact that he wasn't killed or he had, not as significant amount of injuries as the other ones.
Right.
You're right. He knows where he can stab himself and get away with it.
Right.
Yep. I mean, if he was knocked out, what easier way to kill somebody if they're knocked out? And if you're going to stab a 2-year-old 30 sometimes, you're going to stab a grown ass man.
Oh,
there's
yeah,
no doubt about that.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yep.
What you got?
All right. If you haven't, get onto Facebook, give us a like. We also now have an Instagram account that we just recently added. If you have any ideas, you can email us at eviltransgression@gmail.com.
How do you find us on Instagram, Rex? What's our name?
It is evil_transgression.
Ooh.
Nice.
Thank you, because I'm the one that created it.
You can also join our Patreon or Patreon by going to Podbean or going to patreon.com/eviltransgression, or you can go into our description on our episodes in the link and you'll see it right there.
Pow.
Good deal.
Boom.
I don't like typing, so I just go to the links.
It's a lot easier.
It is. I really don't have anything.
Nope.
Other
me
than,
neither.
I love you guys.
Mm-hmm. We do.
I love you so hard.
So much.
Let's not make this weird. We had a great episode and you had to make it weird.
That's not nice.
You're just jealous.
Hope my car's not getting towed right now, but
Nah, you should be all right.
good. That's a side note, but otherwise, I'm gonna need some of that Patreon cash. All right, folks. Thanks for joining us, and until next week.
See ya.
See ya.
Peace.